Hi, my name is Dr. Jennifer Rhodes, and I'm the founder of Rapport Relationships and Visual Arts Reimagined. And welcome to our series of how people recreate their first dates. So for our first video, we have Max and Rachel. Max and Rachel are in Sarah Lawrence College, and they are upperclassmen, and they are both performing arts majors, so they are definitely creative professionals. And the highlight of their video is definitely an example of what a healthy relationship actually looks like.
My name is Rachel.
And my name's Max.
And we've been dating for 7 months. Our first date, we met at our college cafeteria, and we had been friends for a few months, and then we went on a long 4-hour walk in a park and talked about everything you're probably not supposed to talk about on your first date. My favorite memory of our first date, we were sitting on a bench by the lake, and we started talking about our greatest fears. One of his greatest fears is that he will find out that like one of his close friends, that a friend of his is actually a dog. We dissected that for a long time, and I'm sure we could have psychoanalyzed that further. But yeah, that was it was funny, and it was a moment where we really got to know each other and really got to connect about something. And it was like the first moment that I felt like I had been so nervous up until that point in the date, and that was the first point where I felt like, okay, I can breathe, and we're just like talking about this, and it's gonna be all right.
First impression at the start of the date for me, like we said, we met at a cafeteria beforehand, and I was actually there. I ran into my roommate, and he knew that I was really nervous about the date, and I was just nervous about the whole thing in general. And so he was asking me when Rachel was going to be there, and I started getting worried, like if I had gone to the wrong place or something. And then she showed up, and she looked very beautiful. In her, she was wearing this skirt with the not leggings, tights, with the polka dot tights, and they were very nice. And so then I got kind of, I don't know, a breath of relief. I was like, okay, well, this is why I'm going on the date. We had been friends for a long time before then, and so I think that in that moment I was like, well, the way I'm feeling now of seeing her is like a reaffirming of like this is supposed to happen. Looking back, well, I think we just had a really good time. We talked and walked around, and it just felt so good to be able to talk to someone. I mean, I was so upset when it was over.
It was like my first real date I'd been on. I'd been on a lot of like dates that were kind of dates, but they weren't really dates. But this was my first like I'm going on a date with this person. Formal date. Yeah. I think I was really nervous too about if you were going to cross any of my boundaries. In the beginning, like I was really scared. I was like, okay, what if he tries to start holding my hand like right at the beginning of the date? Or what if he tries to kiss me sometime like right at the beginning of the date? I felt like he understands like my boundaries, and he would never, he like respects me, which was such a big thing. Max and I were friends again for like a few months before we started dating. And I think your confidence always is what drew me to you. It's with a friend of mine. He was with another group of guys, and we had never met before. But he was the one that kind of led everyone over to us and like introduced everyone and made conversation. We both went into it knowing that it was the prelude to something that was going to be serious.
I think she's very stylish and, artistic college student, but not in a way that's like obnoxious, I had like the purple bow tie.
I don't think there was any expectation between the two of us of, oh, this date has to go right or it has to go this certain way. It just had to be us being comfortable together, and that's what it was.
One of the things that almost didn't happen, or the reason this date almost didn't happen, is I was really nervous about asking Rachel out and just talking about those feelings. I had just performed at like this singing thing, and Rachel was there, but I wasn't expecting our third friend to be there, and she knew that I had wanted to talk to Rachel, and so then I freaked out, and I was like, oh, I can't talk to her if she's there. But then she like left halfway through walking home, and then I was too nervous, and it was all around, so I just went home, and it was like very obvious that there was this unsaid thing.
Yeah.
And then
and there was a moment where we were like standing in the hallway and we were alone, and I was like the perfect time to talk, and I was kind of waiting to see if he was going to say something, but he didn't. And so then we both went our separate ways.
Good night.
Yeah. So I went to my dorm room, he went to his dorm room. I grabbed my keys and I went and I got in the elevator to go up to his floor, and I was so nervous. My heart was beating so fast on that elevator. But I went and I knocked on his door and no one answered. So I called him, and
I was in the bathroom.
He was in the bathroom.
Actually, and I got the phone call.
Very romantic.
And Rachel was like, hi, what's going on? And she's like, I'm outside your door. Yeah. And I don't know, I almost passed out. I came out, and
Max was trying, he was like, okay, so what if, and he was like going on this long little side, I don't even know how to explain it. He was talking in the most vague terms. In circles, not saying anything. And I was like, why don't you just let me go first?
Rachel coming up to me, I mean, I'm a big believer that, like, no matter what your gender, if you like someone, you need to ask them out. Yeah, I would say that we share a lot of core values. I think one of them, like you were saying, is honesty and communication, like that being extremely important on a date or in a relationship, and just whether that relationship's a friendship or a romantic one. And then I think another one is loyalty. That's really important to us. That can be as small as, if you're on a first date, getting to the place on time, the time that you said you were going to be there, paying attention to those details of, like, I'm going to be loyal to this person.
I think it is an intense thing. In my friendships, my best friends, that has been the core of our relationships, is that loyalty of, like, no matter what happens, I am tied to you in a way that I'm not just gonna walk away from whatever that is. Thanks for watching.
Just an overall tone of the way that they answered the questions, you can see that there's a lot of mutual happy affect, meaning that they are enjoying each other's stories, they're laughing, they seem really comfortable with each other, they have a good rapport and good communication, and they seem to just enjoy being around each other. When you ask them about how they met, they both have the same story. They have a fun way of telling that story. They smile a lot, and they seem to actually really enjoy each other's company. Now, this is not always the case. Most of the couples that I see in my practice who are coming in for couples therapy, when you ask them how did they meet, you get two completely different stories about how they met, and then usually a couple argues. That's not a healthy relationship. But what Max and Rachel are showing us is what we call a secure relationship. Meaning, I don't think either one of these has any kinds of insecurities in this relationship, so they are both securely attached. Now, some of you might be asking, what is attachment? Attachment, when you think about it, is basically a biological need that we all have in order to receive love during the time we are at our worst. So if you think about it with little kids, when kids are scared, who do they turn to? They often turn to their mother, their father, or a caregiver who has been consistently available to them. Well, a good portion of our population, probably about 60%, have had caregivers that have been emotionally available to them. I'm going to guess that Rachel and Max have had good enough parenting as they've grown up, because they both basically seem emotionally secure with each other. But what happens when you don't have those experiences? Oftentimes you can have an anxious attachment or an avoidant attachment. So when a little kid gets stressed, you might have what we call an insecure style. When a little kid gets stressed and they are anxious, you will see them crying and running to their mother and almost clinging. And sometimes when you see kids get stressed, they avoid going to their mother and they act as if they don't need Those are two insecure styles. Max and Rachel don't have any of those signs of insecurity, so in general their video indicates a level of health in their relationship. So if you are looking for a healthy relationship, as I know most of you are, then Max and Rachel are a really good template of what a healthy relationship actually looks like. Their genius is not in the fact that they are young, and it's not in the fact that they are in a creative profession. Their genius is in the fact that they understand emotions, they understand the other person's needs, and they're capable of being their true, authentic selves around each other. That is why you always want to seek out someone who is emotionally secure when you're dating. That also does not always happen, because the anxious and the avoidants usually find each other, and the Maxes and Rachels of the world find each other. So, if you do find someone who is emotionally secure, hold on to them. It is a gift from the universe. It is a gift for you to learn to grow, and it will be the easiest possible relationship, and it will happen much more naturally. So if you liked our video about Max and Rachel, and you want to know more about healthy relationships, or want more examples of what relationships look like when they're not quite so healthy, stay tuned as we continue to interview couples about their first date experiences. And if you know a couple who is like Max and Rachel, who has an amazing first date story, please go ahead and email me at jennifer@rapportrelationships.com. Submit them for an application, and let's see if they're a good fit for our video series. Till then, if you like this video, make sure to tag us on social media, comment below, or simply subscribe to our channel, and we'll keep producing content that you love. Until next time, have a wonderful day. Bye.